Hey nerdy knitters, if you're a new knitter, you have just learned to knit and you're still trying to get the hang of holding the yarn and the needles, this collection of project ideas is perfect for you. They are all really simple and they use just basic stitches to create the final product. And they all use bulky yarn and larger needles, so you'll really be able to see what's going on as you knit. Before we look at those patterns, let me just say, hey, I'm Tanya here at Nerdy Knitting. I'm a certified knitting instructor and a knitwear designer, and my goal is to help you become a confident, adventurous knitter. And these beginner projects will help you do just that. All of these projects use bulky and super bulky yarn. So look at your yarn labels and look for one of these symbols on that yarn label. That will tell you that you found the yarn that's the right thickness for these projects. You're also going to need some really large knitting needles to go with that bulky and super bulky yarn. Something like a US 9 to a 17, which is a 5.5 millimeter up to a 12 millimeter. Check the pattern that you're using for the correct needle size and make sure you buy that size. First up is the Katy Cowl by Flax and Twine. Now this big chunky cowl, it's just casting on about 20 stitches and knitting every row, which gives you a stitch called garter stitch. When you're finished, you bind off, give it a twist, and then seam the two ends together. That's a really simple project that will help you practice your basic knit stitch and still have a really nice contemporary bulky knit to wear when you're all done. Then we have the Rockabye Stripes Baby Blanket. Now this one, you're going to work 3 panels in garter stitch stripes. So you're still working garter stitch. You're going to knit every row, but you're going to add some color in there working these different stripes. Now adding a second color isn't hard. You're just going to drop the yarn you were using, pick up the new yarn, start knitting right across, maybe tie those two ends together so they don't get too loose, but that's all you do to start a new color. So it's really simple to try some stripes. And if you want a larger blanket, it would be really easy to customize this pattern by making more panels and making it the size that you want. My next recommendation is the Macaron Shawl from We Are Knitters. If you're looking for a kit that includes the needles, the yarn, the pattern, and whatever else you might need, the kit comes with everything in it. Now the pattern's really trendy, but it's still really simple. This shawl is just a combination of knit and purl stitches, stockinette with a bit of ribbing along one edge. If you're looking for an easy blanket, then try the Big Good Blanket from Purl Soho. Now this one is worked in seed stitch, which is just a simple repeat of knit and purl stitches. Just 2-row repeat, it's really simple. It uses strands of chunky yarn held double, and depending on your color choices, you can create a marled, a gradient look, or anything like that for your blanket as you switch between the different colors. Now, if you like the idea of a knitting kit like that other shawl pattern, then you'll want to check out the Shining Star Mittens too. This is really simple knit. It's just garter stitch again where you're knitting every row. And this kit comes with everything you need. Yarn, the knitting needles, the pattern, and all the extras. These mittens are knit flat and then they are seamed to create the mitts. So you even learn another really important skill for knitting, seaming your knits. And a small project like mittens is a great way to practice that skill. If you're ready to jump into sweater knitting, then check out this really simple pattern, the Copper Cropper Sweater. Now this is a big chunky knit sweater. You knit all of the pieces, the front, the back, and the sleeve. They're all knit separately and then you seam them together. But it's really simple because it's just garter stitch. You're knitting every row. There is a bit of knit one, purl one, rib too for the hem and the cuffs, but it's really, really simple. If you're ready for your first sweater, this is a great place to start. Now, if you're ready to explore knitting in the round on circular needles, then a hat is a great place to start, like this pattern, the Speckled Pom Pom Hat. It's a really simple hat. It's worked in the round. You're just knitting every row, working some simple decreases for the crown and finishing with a cute pom-pom on top. And since you're using bulky yarn, it's a really quick knitting project. And I have a second sweater recommendation for you if you're looking for a sweater that's really simple to knit. And this one is another kit, the Chewing Gum Sweater. It's another chunky sweater. This one is all in garter stitch, no rib, and there's no neck shaping. You're just binding off stitches for the neckline. And it comes with everything you need: the yarn, the knitting needles, the pattern, and any other small extras that are necessary. If you're still feeling a little intimidated and you want some full video tutorials that will walk you through all of the basic things you need to know as a new knitter, I've got you covered with that as well. I've got 2 sets of videos. One is a series of dishcloths that will teach you all of the basics. Or if you don't want dishcloths, you want an accessory, then I also have a scarf pattern that covers all of the same skills. Now, if you have a recommendation for a beginner knitting project, I'd love it if you'd leave a comment and tell me about it. And if you're looking for more recommendations, go down, check out those comments and see what other knitters are recommending.